Here's a couple of frequently asked questions that we get quite often when working with a Microsoft Teams room system just like this. The first thing is when you walk into the room, the system might be turned off. So what do you do to turn it back on? Well, the Microsoft Teams room system is built with a little sensor right on the screen. So by touching the screen or waving your hand in front of it, it will detect that there's movement and the system will turn on. The second part of this is your screen. The screen at the front, if it's turned off, you'll see a red light at the bottom. So let's go ahead in this case and turn that screen on. Typically, the screen should turn on automatically whenever a source is detected, but just in case, we'll walk you through this process. So now that I woke up the system and I've turned on the TV, it's going to take a few seconds, let's say 30 seconds, for it to negotiate properly. The TV is going to be speaking to the MTR and the resolutions are going to handshake and so on and so forth. So long story short, 30 seconds, everything should connect back up. What we're looking for is this image with the clock full screen, and on the touch screen, it's the main Microsoft Teams control. That's pretty much what you need to do to wake up the system, worst case. If anything doesn't work as described, that's when you would reach out to internal support. Another frequently asked question that we get is, typically when we're connected to a meeting, so I'm going to connect to a meeting here to showcase that, is that the far end can't hear me. Can you hear me now type thing. What you want to make sure of is that you're not on mute. So the far end won't hear you if your microphones are muted. Let's start with the touch screen. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a microphone icon. If there is a line across the microphone icon, you're muted. If there's no line, you're unmuted. Now there's a couple of visual indicators in the room as well. On the camera, if you mute, you see that the green light turned red. That red light tells you that you're muted. Also, in these rooms, there are wireless microphones, and they have an LED on the mute icon as well. So if I go ahead and unmute on the touch controller, it'll go green on the microphones and also on the camera. If I go ahead and mute on the microphone, the LED will turn red, the camera will turn red, and a line will appear across the microphone showcasing that it's muted. So if the far end can't hear you, make sure that you're off mute. Green means go, kind of thing. If you're off mute and the far end still can't hear you, it's possible that they're having an issue and not you. The next thing is I can't hear the far end, so role reversal. If you can't hear the far end, then what you would want to do at that point is come to your touchscreen controller, look for the speaker icon, and make sure that that's not muted. Again, muted is a line across it. If there is a line across it, you're muted. So click the icon and go off mute. Then hit the plus button so that the volume increases. It's possible that if the volume is set to 0 or 10, it's just too low. You won't hear it and you think it's not working. But if the volume is at 70, 80, 90 plus, you should be hearing it plenty loud. And so that's a confirmation that your volume is at the right level. And then the issue may be something more that you'll need support with in the room, or potentially the far end is on mute. So maybe walking the far end how to get off mute will solve the issue as well. Continuing with frequently asked questions, the next thing is the far end sometimes cannot see me. And that's just the camera functionality. It's basically on or off. If we click the icon for the camera, has a line across, we mute the camera. We click the camera on the display, there's no line, it is unmuted. So the far end should see us. If you're looking at the icon and it's unmuted and you're looking at the screen and you don't see yourself, there may be something wrong with the camera. Certain cameras will give you a visual cue. Like this camera, when it's off, there's kind of a clamshell that closes over the lens of the camera, and it has a line through it, basically telling you it's not working. Other cameras that are more, they're larger cameras, they will kind of turn and face down when they're kind of in sleep or powered off. So that's a visual cue to see, is my camera on? Is my camera icon off mute? Yes, yes. Okay, there's something maybe wrong with the far end or something worse, and that'd be a good time to call support. Those are the typical frequently asked questions that we get in this room, and hopefully you have a great meeting.